The penultimate race of Season 5 comes through one of the biggest tracks in stock truck racing, and tonight it is the Michigan International Speedway hosting a 75-lap thriller that will decide who makes it into our Final Four next week for our season finale here in the Saturday Night Truck Series. As it stands, we have ourselves 2 minutes and 22 seconds remaining on the board as qualifying's on its way in the Great Lakes State 150. Alec Daffin on the track as over 10 drivers have registered for tonight's event, getting things going with only a few minutes left to get a fast lap in. Great to have you all watching live again on FTN. I'll be your host for tonight's broadcast, David Kreutz, commentating and producing. And tonight, the main feature on FTN, of course, the Saturday Night Truck Series and the championship battle going down to the wire. 4 drivers are set to make it to Auto Club as championship eligible. Now, right now, it seems like most of those drivers are locked in. It's not a certainty, but it will come down to whether or not one of the drivers will outrun your current man 5th in points. Alec Daffin, Jordan Kuntz, and Vinny Tigner are safe. And speaking of Tigner, he takes it up to the pole position in the number 12 machine, top of the board, with a minute and 29 left. Henry Kaloff can lock himself in tonight with a strong run ahead of number 50 in Scott Erickson, and Alec Daffin takes it up the pole immediately thereafter. Daffin's been on a hot run of his own and is looking for what would be his 3rd win of the season if he can pull it through tonight. Coming in this time by Alec Daffin, going to lead the way in qualifying. Michael Deitch is going to be 5th on the board. Carter Casey's going to be position number 4, and now Matthew Weeks jumps up to that 4th spot. Drivers get things going for the first time tonight, and Jordan Kuntz is now on the way, the final man set to take a qualifying time. Their defending champion locked in as well to the Final Four. As Jordan Kuntz hammers down, this time by the number 5 machine, who's been oh so good for the past season and a half, looking to get it done not only tonight, but next week when it matters the most. Michigan tonight's going to be more like a test run for Auto Club, very similar track. However, we're up in the Northeast here in Brooklyn, Michigan, so instead of going West Coast racing, it's going to be instead in the East for one more event before we head down to our season finale track in Fontana. Jordan Kuntz put down 1 lap in qualifying, but the odds are it's going to be a close call to get to the end. 10 seconds left in qualifying this time by Kuntz is quick, has made up 4/10 of a second at the line, drops down to the apron, and a buzzer beater lap for Jordan Kuntz sends him up, it looks like, to 5th. So Jordan Kuntz puts that final lap in, oh so close to not having a count, but with 5 minutes left on our second practice session, Jordan Kuntz puts his flying lap in, and just like that, we're on our way to get things going once again. And it's going to be time for the virtual Michigan International Speedway, led off this time through by the driver of the number 5 machine to get off pit road, but qualifying does not go Vinny's way. And as the drivers come through this time by second practice, going to be on the move here from the virtual Michigan. And we got ourselves over 10 drivers, as we mentioned, registered for tonight's event. Stored up in the memory for all these drivers, 10 races completed so far. And now moving on to our 11th of which, it's been a thrilling season to this point, but a lot of work still to be done in that championship battle. And qualifying is half the battle for a lot of these guys. So without further ado, let's find out who starts where in the Great Lakes State 150. Keeping things going for the penultimate race of the season. Vinny Tigner making some big moves, but he's going to get dropped back not once, but twice. Alec Daffin at the last second steals the pole position away, and the number 48 machine of the best run of his career once again takes it to the top of the charts in the 1st position over Carter Casey, just a few hundredths of a second back. It's Casey in the 2nd spot with a 40.263. 3rd place then going to be held by Vinny Tigner and the number 12. Vinny and Alec Daffin are both locked into the Final Four as it stands, and Vinny Tigner is going to be starting 3rd with a 40.265. Right behind, it's going to be Henry Kaloff with a 40.268. Jordan Kuntz is 5th right now in the qualifying charts, and he's also locked into the Final Four picture. And of your top 5, 4 of which are ready to go for the Final Four if they can just run well tonight. So it looks like Jordan Kuntz starts 5th with a 40.338, and the Shaw Racing number 5 going to see his teammate in the pole position. Both Shaw Racing machines inside the top 5 here in qualifying. Matthew Weeks, who got it done last week, comes back to maybe go for a double up, as Weeks, who ran oh so well here last season, finds himself qualified in 6th with a 40.341. Michael Deitch in the number 51 machine also returns to racing in the Saturday Night Truck Series with a 40.4 flat time for the man in that number 51, as Dylan Potts is going to be the 41 on your screen there, retiring. He's going to be driving the number 99 tonight, a substitution effort for him, as the 40.429 time is going to set him in firmly in the 8th position here in qualifying. Then from there, going to be Michael Boone at 9th position, and it's going to be the number 3 machine there in 9th with a 40.435. And Chris Tripp rounding out the top 10 in the number 90. Last we saw him was Talladega in a photo finish with Henry Kaloff and Vinny Tigner. He returns to qualified 10th with a 40.442. Then it's going to be the 11th place, not occupied by any other driver for now. And then you see Scott Erickson is loaded up with a 40.492, and Tyrone Young comes back for the second race this season with a 40.734. Curtis Barron opts to take no time in qualifying to round out the 13-car grid in the Great Lakes State 150. As qualifying concluded, that is your overall lineup for tonight's event. 13 drivers are registered for the penultimate race of the campaign. And right now, looking at Tyrone as he gets things going down the back straightaway. Almost every driver gets on the track to get some extra practice laps. As it stands, it's going to be Tyrone Yost, the fastest of which. Michael Boone is going to be second. Michael Deitch is going to be third. Scott Erickson is then in fourth. And Curtis Barron right now, looking to time himself, is down to the bottom of the track. This time by 1 minute and 11 seconds remain. How about we ride on board this time by with your current second practice leader, as Tyrone takes it across the line once again, and he's looking to go for a lap better than a 40.316. Right now, looking on for the driver, the number 1 machine in our qualifying session, it was, well, Alec Daffin. Now we're looking at our second practice leader, and that's Tyrone Yo, who has the lead by 71 thousandths of a second as it stands. Michael Boone and Michael Deitch not too far behind. And before things get going tonight, if you want to join us on the fun here on FTN, we'd love to have you join our official FTN Broadcasting Network Discord. The QR code is on your screen right now, so if you want to join the fun, we'd love to have you there. An open Discord server to learn about every series we broadcast, potentially join them, and stick around with the FTN crew, always available if you want to reach out and find out what's going on here on the network. Check out the official FTN Broadcasting Network Discord tonight, or whenever you choose to, as we bring you back after our second practice is over. Tyrone Yo is the fastest man, and now time to get rolling for 75 laps of racing here from the virtual Michigan International Speedway. And it looks like here in the Brendan Carroll also going to be joining us at the same time. The number 31 machine loading in as we speak. So it looks like now 14 drivers set to take to the track, waiting on Brendan Carroll. So hopeful he's going to come through as well, as the field now going to have 14 drivers within it. You'll see Alec Daffin further up at the front of the field. Henry Kaloff, Chris Tripp, not to mention Tyrone Yo is also loaded. And so is Curtis Barron. 75 laps of action. Henry Kaloff is going to be the highest up driver in qualifying to be loaded up to this point. Is his 50th race in iRacing League competition, so tonight's going to be a special one for him. And you'll see on the hood of his number 35 truck a special sponsor. Happy early birthday, Landon, as the number 35 representing his friend on the hood of his Chevy Silverado. You'll also see Jordan Kuntz is going to be fit in that Shaw Racing number 5, locked into the final 4. Daffin, Kuntz, Tigner, and so long as Henry Kaloff stays ahead of Scott Erickson, he is locked in as well. Your pole sitter Alec Daffin's been on one hell of a run as of recent, first getting it done at the Pocono Raceway, his very first win in competition in over a season's worth of time, and now Daffin is back better than ever. And I think for Alec Daffin, he knows he's gotten 2 wins this season already, has been fantastic as of late. No reason to suggest that momentum will die out or wear off, and I feel like now, especially with an integral Calgary Ignite Series win behind him on Monday. A very strong league as well. He's got a lot to look forward to in continuing his iRacing success to close out 2023. Daffin finds himself on the pole position right now with Carter Casey opting not to race. Your race control put in a very good lap in qualifying. However, second place for the driver, the number 2, is not going to be any longer. It looks like now he's going to join the grid, as a matter of fact, so Carter Casey might just be with us for the first time this season as the iRacing official pace car is set to grab a gear momentarily and bring the drivers onto the track. And a great review right now of Alec Daffin and the rest of the field all lined up, save for Brendan Carroll. Carroll loading in as it stands. Rest of your drivers are already locked in for another night of action. Pace car gets rolling this time by, and they take it out of neutral to begin moving here in the Saturday Night Truck Series. Back to work for a lot of these guys. Penultimate race of the season, and the stakes are high in Michigan. As the field rolls off, this time by Alec Daffin, going to drop down to the bottom. You'll see Carter Casey right up top. Drivers getting things going this time by Tigner going to be third, Henry Kaloff fourth, and Jordan Kuntz then in fifth. All of your juggernauts up in front once again. Your final 4 represented inside the top 5 right now. Scott Erickson still has an outside opportunity. However, he would need to win this race to really lock himself in. The number 50 machine going to be lined up 11th on the order tonight, and all 14 drivers have made it through. Brendan Carroll is going to be on pit road, so misses the start, but is not set to go 1 lap down tonight, so a better circumstance for the number 31 machine on your screen. Brendan Carroll going to be there on pit road. Alec Daffin set to lead the field this time by. All 14 drivers who registered will be with us to get things going here and now. But for the number 48 machine, a hot streak as of recent, second place in Richmond, 2 wins to back himself up before that photo finish, and now Daffin looking to drive for his 3rd win of the season as he hopes to best or match his championship rival in Jordan Kuntz, a teammate as well, as Shaw Racing leads to the green. This time by Carter Casey up top for his first race of the tour as well, and through the Geico restart zone they will go. Get ready for the Great Lakes State 150 as Michigan comes alive for the penultimate race of season 5. At the line for Alec Daffin, he'll lead lap 1, the full field behind him. Brendan Carroll, 15 seconds back, gets things going after a 10-second pit road penalty. From there on out, you'll see Vinny Tigner's going to be on his move, and a number 12 machine, and he's going to be second on the order. Carter Casey drops way back into 6th right now as the field already gets jumbled up. Number 2 machine fades back behind the top 5. Matthew Weeks is going to weasel his way in, and just like that, your top 4 drivers in the point standings are 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, and it looks like already the juggernauts are back on top. Alec Daffin leads the way, Vinny Tigner in 2nd, Jordan Kuntz in 3rd, Henry Kaloff then going to be in the 4th position. That's the way they roll. So far, so good for your front runners, Daffin in particular, leading every lap to this point, but of course things have only just begun, so that's a given. Now the question is, how aggressive will guys get right behind him, namely Vinny Tigner, knowing that Vinny has not yet gotten a race win this season. All of his other championship 4 rivals have gotten at least 1 chance at the checkered flag. Kaloff winning at Talladega, Jordan Kuntz and Alec Daffin alike, both having multiple victories so far, and with those two having those multitudes of victories, it's given not a lot of room for a guy like Vinny Tigner to come home on top. Additional drivers with race wins also include Davis Lewis, Lane Graves, and Matthew Weeks, but for the most part it's been dominated by Shaw Racing, and their campaign has been tremendous. And once again, Shaw Racing showing to be the class of the field this season. Alexander Russell also coming home with a win, got it done at the thrilling night in Charlotte. However, from that point onward, it's been a lot of dominance from the 48 and the number 5. And tonight, the question is whether or not Jordan Kuntz could get it broken up if Vinny Tigner makes it through, or if Matthew Weeks keeps up the strong stuff, because Weeks is already down to the bottom side, and Matthew looking to make some moves as he bobbles up top. Nearly got into the top 4, but doesn't make much of it that time through, and now has to go up high as Henry Kaloff begins to look for third. I'm going to be side by side now for Henry Kaloff and Jordan Kuntz up at the head of the field. We saw these two drivers battling early in Atlanta just a few weeks prior on throwback night, and the original Atlanta configuration on iRacing we used, and it had incredible racing results. A great package with very, very solid drivers, brings out the best in all the field, and as always, clean racing up in front here in the Saturday Night Truck Series. Talladega, which we went to most recently as our recent SuperSpeedway event, only had itself one caution, much like Daytona. So we've seen clean races throughout the season, no matter what track we go to. Our most recent caution-free race was at Richmond, which came down to the wire between Daffin and Jordan Kuntz. Michael Stroll and Joaquin Stewart also raced in the middle of the pack as well. Stroll came home with a third-place finish, and pole sitter Joaquin Stewart had to bow out later in the going. Michael Cormetis made his debut last week in another thrilling event. However, a few more wrecks as compared to the majority of the season, as now coming through at Michigan, it's going to be down to 14 drivers, and unfortunately, that in iRacing is a common occurrence. However, you can help and bring this field size back up with some even more high-quality racing. The more the merrier here in the Saturday Night Truck Series, and the invite link to join the fun is in the description of every broadcast we have here on FTN. Henry Kaloff making moves up to the high side with Vinny Tigner, your new race leader. Daffin losing some spots right now and losing some time, as the number 12 machine now finds itself at the top of the board, 7 laps in at a 75. A great move there for Vinny Tigner to be able to take that race lead, but Kaloff is going to pounce down low, and taking it to the bottom there, that number 35 machine wrestles to the low side, gets the race lead, and finds himself out in front very early. A lot of confidence so far for Kaloff in terms of racing at Michigan. Was the fastest man in practice, first practice that was, and not able to show exactly what he had in qualifying. Once he gets it warmed up better as the race goes on, Vinny Tigner leads that time by, brings Alec Daffin right down low, and the veterans going to work with each other as Kaloff is sent all the way up to the top side of the track, and Henry Kaloff with damage is going to go all the way to the rear of the field. Just like that, and you'll see guys coming through, but Henry Kaloff is going to be in the middle of nowhere now, beating and banging with Alec Daffin. The 35 is sent way high, and just like that, the CB Fabricating Chevy Silverado outside of the top 5, and now in the 8th spot, far out of leading contention. This is going to help out Vinny Tigner that much more, give him a bit more room to roll with. Just like that, Kaloff fades out of contention up in front, loses an awful lot of time, slams the wall, and with no fast repairs here in the Saturday Night Truck Series, that's a lot of bad news to deal with early in the race, and you don't want to deal with it at all, but it's going to be hard to manage over 50 laps of racing without a fully healed up truck. Unless there's a lot of yellow flags to get that opportunity to go down and repair, Kaloff is going to be laboring throughout the night, knowing he's in a firm opportunity or a firm position to go to the Final Four. Only driver he'll need to worry about for the rest of the day is Scott Erickson. Now, Erickson is in the 11th right now. Henry Kaloff is in 9th and looks to be quicker than Curtis Sabarin, who is in 8th. So, not all hope is lost necessarily, but going to be a very, very tough pill to swallow as Kaloff fades back big while the rest of the championship battle is still up in front. Vinny Tigner leads 10 laps in, and Tigner was denied a race victory by Henry Kaloff at Talladega. As mentioned beforehand, it was between Kaloff and Tigner at the line, and just barely that number 12 machine got beaten at the stripe. One of the closest finishes in league history, coming down to the thousandths of a second, and Vinny Tigner did not find himself on the winning end of that picture. So now Vinny's going to find himself fighting for win number 1 of the season. Matthew Weeks, a man who returned with a vengeance last Saturday, has come back on board looking to get the checkered flag, and he's very confident in what he's got to keep things going in a campaign that's been mostly part-time in the past year. Had a nice effort in season 4, was not able to conceal the deal and fight for a championship, and few appearances this season, not as many, but still showing that speed and the promise that Matthew Weeks displayed all throughout the season prior, and even beforehand. And Matthew Weeks told us confident about Michigan, got it done in season 4, so he knows what it's like to come through at this 2-mile track. Already puts himself in second, a buffer between Tigner and the Shaw Racing duo, as now Jordan Kuntz and Alec Daffin are together. Daffin goes up to the high side, sees it's going to be Jordan Kuntz on the quarter panel, and Jordan drops way down low, finds himself neck and neck at the line as we head now to lap number 12 at a 75. And coming through this time by All Action on FTN, provided by our amazing graphic design partners at Tango Paint on Twitter. No matter what paint schemes or liveries you desire for your iRacing, sim racing identity, you should check out Tango Paints for offers you cannot beat. Prices starting at $50 per paint scheme. Tango Paints on Twitter, your one-stop shop for all your sim racing graphic design needs. The official graphic design partner of the Fireball Talks NASCAR live team. That is Tango Paints on Twitter. Check them out after this brief promotional break, courtesy of Toll Owen and the entire Tango Paints team. And 13 laps in, the fight is still on. Up in front, Matthew Weeks, your new race leader, leading him down to the Baker's dozen point. It's going to be Matthew Weeks, Vinny Tigner, Jordan Kuntz, the 1-2-3 combo up ahead of the field at the line, single file right up top. Now it's going to be Matthew Weeks getting that advantage, and you look dropping down low. Vinny Tigner already is going to go for it, send it nicely into the first corner, but the second corner momentum comes back on that higher side, and Michigan, a multi-group track, it's going to have it happen a few times. If you don't work it out every lap just right, you'll see drivers using a different groove to get right by you, and it's happening once again here as Matthew Weeks takes it up to the top side, has help from Kuntz and Daffin, not to mention Carter Casey. It's a 5-car group up ahead, breaking away. Then you're going to see Curtis Sabarin on his own in 8th. Looks like Dylan Poss is going to be in 7th right now, and Michael Deitch is position number 6, blinking just a bit as the Henry Kaloff, number 35, sees trouble now. Scott Erickson trying to pass him by. At the line, it's going to be Kaloff with a minor advantage, but the damage is coming through and making it much harder for the rest of the race. Kaloff is going to have to deal with that on the right side. Scott Erickson is going to be on the bottom here. Michael Boone is also coming through, and as Michael comes through this time by, could be able to take another spot away as Kaloff fades beyond the top 10 if anyone else gets by that number 35. Up in front, Matthew Weeks has the advantage with Jordan Kuntz once again in 2nd. Carter Casey's going to be 3rd, and Vinny Tigner is going to be 4th. Alec Daffin rounds out the top 5 as it stands 15 laps in at a 75. A nice and smooth start to this race, and already drivers getting into a rhythm up in front. Matthew Weeks has a reason to be confident, already leading laps, climbing through the qualifying chart. Finds himself once again up in front, looking to go back-to-back for Michigan victories in the Saturday Night Truck Series. Season 4 and 5, he could get it done 2 successive seasons. But still, a ways to go to really lock that down. And of course, the way we're racing right now, we are expecting to see some green flag pit stops, a cycle bound to happen as the race goes on. At this rate, we're going to see, of course, long green flag run broken up by pit stops, and when those drivers come down to pit road, that's going to be the most important point of the night, because really you only have about a minute to spare between run to run. It's going to be that one brief portion on pit road that really determines who's going to be where as the night progresses. If you can't nail that pit road strategy, get a good entry, get a good exit, you'll find yourself with a major disadvantage. And 17 laps in at a 75, this time by Matthew Weeks, is advantageous over Jordan Kuntz in 2nd, Vinny Tigner 3rd, and Alec Daffin then in 4th with Carter Casey position number 5. Michael Deitch is then going to be 6th with a bit of blinking issue, so we can't really focus on him, but this main pack of 5 is getting away big time. find themselves up in front, 17 in at a 75, led by the number 11. And from there on out, you got championship contenders and one-race ringers all throughout the field. Matthew Weeks leads them through this time by. How's about we check on that second big pack? As you'll see now, Michael Boone going to be with Henry Caloff, not to mention Chris Tripp and Tyrone Yo all together. Tyrone going to be the final man in this bunch as he goes all the way up to the top side, gets caught up in the wall, and Henry Caloff has to go to the middle to try to block both lanes worth the momentum. And you can't really do much right now if you're in Henry Caloff's position. You'll see Curtis Barron coming back down to earth. Erickson making time. Scott Erickson needs a great run to get away and find a chance for the Final Four. The odds are slim for this number 50 team, but it is not all hope being lost, especially given where he's at right now. 19 laps into the 75, he comes in tonight 5th in the point standings, and if it does become a disaster for Henry Caloff, there's still an outside opportunity that things could go the way of that number 50. However, he's going to have to really get up there in the thick of it for the lead battle, which we have seen him up there before fighting for the win, but just hasn't seen it consistently so far, and that's been the big troublesome spot in terms of all these races. Execution in the most clutch moments for this number 50 crew. The more they can get down in the most important segments of the night, the better chances they'll have for top fives, podiums, and even maybe consistent victories. A lot of good competition here, but it is often an opportunity for driver who doesn't often get race wins to run up here, especially at a big track where you're really flat out a lot of the time. That's why this pack of five has been able to get away so well. Matthew Weeks has not really ran away from the rest of the field entirely, but he has a small bunch of drivers who are managing the track much better than anyone else, and that's why he still has Jordan Kuntz on the back bumper, not to mention Vinny Tigner still going to be right there with him. Alec Daffin still going to pack a punch, and Carter Casey is the man who finds himself on the back of this 5-car train. Michael Deitch is going to be like 5 seconds back right now. Time and scoring says 4.4 back to Carter Casey in particular, so really no chance right now for Deitch or anyone else to catch back up, as in 21 laps in, Matthew Weeks leads the way and keeps that advantage as good as it gets. Now 41.516 lap that time by as Henry Caloff sees trouble, goes down to pit road early, and already going to make a strategy call in the number 35. Caloff is down and in. And 13th place he'll be. He's going to lose a spot to Brendan Carroll, at least for the time being, as the number Ford F-150 number 10 machine comes through, and it's going to be the 21st lap for Brendan Carroll. He will no longer be in the last position and makes it by Caloff. This time around, every driver still on the lead lap. That might change, though, as Caloff is only going to get off pit road just now, and is set to be the first man put one down after cycles get on their way here in Michigan. 22 laps in at a 75, already gambles being called in terms of strategy. Henry Caloff going to be back on the way, just got off the pit road for the number 31 machine, and now Caloff remains there. Extensive damage repair must be taken care of as well for a really good chance at the win, and we'll see how much longer Caloff opts to stay down below the racing surface. Matthew Weeks, Jordan Kuntz, Vinny Tigner, Alec Daffin's going to be 4th, and Carter Casey then in 5th. That's how they roll. 22 laps in at a 75. Michael Deitch is going to see some pressure now from Dylan Poss, and it looks like Dylan gaining big time each and every lap. Take a lap on board this time with the number 41 machine as he runs a substitution night with the number 99 on the hood. Here's a view from just beyond the front end of Dylan Poss. Riding on board a lap here with the number 41 machine, you'll see how close he's getting to Michael Deitch in terms of making a move, just not found that spot to really seal the deal. It's a close call that time by, but Michael Deitch continues great defense here, and Scott Erickson also coming up as well. That time by, Erickson faster than the both of them by at least 0.2 of a second, and Scott's got the pack right there behind him. He's got Michael Boone, Chris Tripp, Curtis Sabarin, and Tyrone Yo all together. Brendan Carroll's going to be 31 seconds back right now, and Henry Kaloff is 3 laps down. Trouble tonight for Kaloff. The night's going slowly but surely to a disaster for the 35. However, it will not be all hope lost if this number 50 machinist Scott Erickson stays in the bottom half of the running order. Scott Erickson, the number 50, 25 laps in, still there in 8th. So far, the leading drivers have not been playing it all too risky. They're up in front, they got a major advantage, and they are going to log some laps for the time being. Understanding how far ahead you are compared to the rest of the field is a big deal in terms of racing discipline, so these drivers know right now it's not the time to really race each other on edge 110%. And sometimes you gotta take a step back and relax and understand the position. If someone really makes a mistake or someone really is gonna lose a lot of pace all of a sudden, then there's time to really make an opportunity of it. But right now, I don't think that is the reality. I think that's all a hypothetical. You gotta understand, 26 laps into the 75, not even at the halfway point, and we're running a very clean, very long green flag run right now. And here at Michigan, you can't take that for granted because cautions will breed cautions if they are to come out. And there's a lot of close racing between everyone right now, but these leaders in particular running each other very smooth, very calm, understanding the situation as Henry Kaloff gets back on the track this time by. After going 5 laps down, Kaloff opts to get all the damage he can repaired. Still a scuff on the right side, but all is better. Not as well as it should be, but Kaloff back out on the way, hoping to redeem himself here and have a shot to maybe get back in front if push comes to shove, quite literally. That time by, it's still Matthew Weeks the leader. Michael Deitch opts to come to pit road this time through. He's going to take the second half of the field down with them. Michael Boone, Curtis Sabarin, Scott Erickson, Tyrone Yo also coming through just like that. Your first big pit cycle, and expecting a 2-stop strategy the way things are going. This is the first pit stop of which, and now drivers make their move and drop down to the bottom side of the circuit as Michigan International Speedway sees pit road busy once again. Leaders opt to stay out though, and you'll see now that number 11 machine of Matthew Weeks makes his way by, has a 5-truck battle all right behind him. He's the first man of which. Then you'll have 2 other drivers still out on the track, Dylan Poss and Chris Tripp. Tripp comes in this time by, so he'll drop down to the bottom side, make things a bit easier for the rest of the field. Now 6 drivers remain, and 5 of which are within 1/2 of a second. That's how close your front runners are right now. Second group also gets back on their way. Michael Deitch with a major advantage. This will put him all the way up into 9th, and it looks like he'll cycle up even further as Michael Boone is now scored 10th. Scott Erickson scored in at the 12th spot. Curtis Sabarin, position number 11. Chris Tripp down on pit road this time by as another man makes their way through. It looks like that's going to be Alec Daffin. The number 48 machine drops in this time by, so Daffin leads the field of front runners down in. He'll leave the rest of the pack, and just like that, smaller group up ahead, Weeks, Kuntz, Tigner, and Carter Casey. Alec Daffin opts to go for the undercut this time by, and 29 laps into the 75, the move might be to get to about lap number 30 here before Matthew Weeks opts to run down a pit road and do something about the situation regarding strategy. This time by, Daffin's still going to be on pit road, almost invisible entirely. You'll only see the pace car sedan. As you'll see now, Daffin remains on pit road, an average pit stop time of about 40-odd seconds. So nothing major in terms of time tonight. However, you are expected to fall about 1 lap down if you go for a pit stop. Brendan Carroll is nearly 1 lap down, but has not gone for a pit stop so far. He's 34 seconds back on the leader due to missing the start of this race. Alec Daffin, after his pit stop, is actually going to be still on the lead lap, but just barely. And as you'll see, it's now going to be Matthew Weeks making his way around. This time by, the number 11 machine gaining big on the number 48. Daffin nearly 1 lap down as Jordan comes in this time by. That's Jordan Kuntz, and Matthew Weeks leads the way with Vinny Tigner and Carter Casey not too far behind. Question is whether or not Matthew Weeks comes in, and that he does. Takes Vinny Tigner right there with him, and Carter Casey opts to stay out on the track. One driver remaining, and Carter Casey is that man. So Casey's going to stay out on the circuit this time by, make it lap number 31 out of 75, and a new driver out in front this time through. Carter Casey going to risk it all this time around and keep himself out in front longer than anyone else on their initial run. Vinny Tigner is going to come through, and so does Matthew Weeks. The 11 and 12 coming as a combination, and nearly halfway down, it's Carter Casey alone up ahead. Dylan Poss has been able to cycle up in a second as well, and the 213 Simware machine is now the runner-up man as Tyrone Yoh makes his way by. So does Michael Deitch, not to mention Michael Boone, and all the drivers getting back together for a pit cycle as Carter Casey comes in this time by and gives it up. This will give Dylan Poss the race lead if he opts to stay out, and that he does not. Dylan Poss makes his way in, and as a result, the leading driver after this cycle is set to be Jordan Kuntz, just about a second away from his teammate Alec Daffin, just moments behind. The number 48 is, and the new man on top was set to be your defending season champion. Season 4, he got it done to the Saturday Night Truck Series and came through with a victory at Homestead when it mattered the most. Now this season, Alec Daffin and Jordan Kuntz both were not the drivers who got it done at Homestead. However, it looks like there's a chance now for history to be rewritten once again, because Michigan last season, it was not Jordan Kuntz who got it done, it was Matthew Weeks. And while Weeks is still in the race right now and finds himself scored in third, it's a huge run off pit road for Jordan Kuntz, and all of a sudden out in front by just a far enough margin compared to anyone else like Matthew Weeks, Brendan Carroll, or even Vinny Tigner, where the only competition is really set to be Alec Daffin if he can get away. Now the question is though, how does Alec Daffin work with the other drivers trying to get the draft off of him? Because it's not just going to come down to Daffin and Kuntz. If Alec Daffin drops it back a bit further, giving the draft to other drivers could also change the way this race goes, and the way things are right now, certainly going to shift once again. Brendan Carroll comes down to pit road this time by after a 31 lap run on his set of tire after missing the start of this race. Slightly fresher set, not major difficulty for him to make it around, but makes it to pit road all the same, as your leading man is now advantageous by about 1 flat second. Take a look back right now to see Scott Erickson, Tyrone Yoh going at it, and Michael Boone right there too. Michael's going to stand on the top side. Scott Erickson drops way down to the bottom here, and number 50 machine guns down the back straightaway, looking to have that edge. That he does, and takes it through with another spot taken. That's Scott Erickson back up to 9th. He chases down Chris Tripp just 1/10 of a second ahead. You're going to see Curtis Sabaron, Chris Tripp working at each other. Chris Tripp down low, Curtis Sabaron right up top. And at the line, minor advantage goes back to the number 6 machine, but Curtis is going to be right there on the high side with some pressure from Chris Tripp down low. Trips it down even bottom further, and right now the GM Racing number 90 trying to find that lowest groove possible to make something happen, cutting on the distance to try to make the momentum less of a factor. Didn't work that time by, and it looks like Chris Tripp fades back just a bit more. Close, but not yet there. Looking further back, Michael Boone is going to be there, number 3 machine, and Boone keeps on going with the Fireball number 50 right ahead. Boone is going to be scored in 10th, Tyrone Yoh is going to be 11th, and the final man on the lead lap is now going to be Dylan Poss, and he's only been on his run of tire for about 2 laps, so he's still gaining time and hoping to put himself back up there with a much fresher set of Goodyear rubber, which will be a major advantage as the race goes on, for his sake, getting time back. And Jordan Kuntz has the lead 35 laps in, and right now, even though we're so early in this one, it's going to be tough to take that away from Jordan Kuntz. He's got a 1 second edge on his teammate, and then you go back more than 1 second further to Matthew Weeks. These guys have broken away and are on pace for what could be another caution-free event, and 75 laps at Michigan go by real fast when you don't have any issues to speak of, and right now, that might just be the way things are going. Shaw Racing's number 5 of Jordan Kuntz has the advantage, 1 second flat up ahead, and pit strategy might just be the only thing that brings this number 5 back down to earth. Now, that's the thing about Jordan Kuntz. He's great at tire saving, but no matter who you are, no matter how good you are, generally making strategy happen, every driver has their fair share of mistakes coming down a pit road. Green flag pit stops can get intense, and especially with the pressure racking up for other drivers in this field, it might become a bit riskier for the number 5 machine understanding the weight of this event. Here, 5 seasons in, the number 5 machine has the advantage as Vinny Tigner now tries to go for Matthew Weeks. You'll see that number 11 machine has the 3rd spot, but Vinny that time by 0.2 of a second quicker, and Matthew Weeks beginning to struggle and catching back up to Alec Daffin. And it could be Vinny Tigner, the next man to make that move, because he's also bringing Carter Casey, and Casey going about the same speed, just 1 second behind. Coming through this time by, though, 37 laps in, out of 75, coming to our halfway point. Jordan Coots is the man who leads the way, Alec Daffin second, and Matthew Weeks rounds out the podium with only a total of 38 laps remaining at lap 38 of 75. Now with the halfway point hit without any yellow flag or stop of action, it's been non-stop racing so far in Michigan. And that's the norm here in the Saturday Night Truck Series. A lot of green flag action, longer runs with a lot of strategy baked in them. Watch on board right now as Vinny Tigner's made up an awful lot of time and now finds himself just a half second away from Matthew Weeks. Just ahead of him, the 3rd place is, not to mention Alec Daffin might just be there too, and running on the high up onboard shot with Vinny Tigner. You'll see he's getting closer and closer, reeling that driver in and trying to make something happen. The mobile 1/4 panel sticker, if you can get there, make some contact, you'll be able to easily move him out the way, but you don't want to do that right now to a driver who's not in championship contention. Matthew Weeks only chasing victories, and right now he's already found himself a winner once again in terms of his performance this season. He's back on the higher end of the board, podium finishes, race victories. He's still chasing, and even though there's only 2 opportunities left, including this race, there's still a chance as Matthew Weeks finds himself now right with Alec Daffin. Daffin losing time as his teammate continues to pull away, and looking up top, Matthew Weeks goes there. He's got the high side and will take it around, hopefully getting second for his sake as the number 11 takes it up top. Vinny Tigner putting pressure right behind, and 36 laps to go this time through. The JD Designs numbered 11 makes it around and puts himself now in second with Vinny Tigner sandwiching that number 48 all over again. Close battle in the middle of the field. Scott Erickson still battling here with a Michael Boone, and Boone's going to take it down to the bottom side, looking to take away that 9th position. Almost does so that time by. However, it's going to be Scott Erickson still holding on with a Michael Boone remaining behind. Tyrone Yaw also goes for it as well, and with Tyrone making it through, he's going to have Michael Boone fade back further. 40 laps in, Michael Boone making some big moves, but it doesn't play out in his favor, and just like that, the number 3 machine has to put himself back in the order once again. 35 laps remain this time by, as they're going to come through yet again. Jordan Kuntz has the advantage. Matthew Weeks is then second with the Vinny Tigner then in third, and Alec Daffin's going to be position number 4 as it stands. 35 laps to go, largely single file up in front. Pit cycles though with the next 15 laps, which things will get much more intense as the drivers come around once more. 35 laps to go in the Great Lakes State 150, and it's Jordan Kuntz still with the edge. And now the drivers making their best times around the track in this longer green flag environment. I'll tell you this much, here in iRacing, 15 years of action, and we'd love to have you join the iRacing platform and become a member on this service today. With discounts over 40% off for the remainder of the year, iRacing Motorsport Simulation is your one-stop shop for all online sim racing content and the best online simulator on the planet for any racing, no matter the discipline. Check out iRacing.com after tonight's broadcast, and we'll bring you back with 34 laps to go after a brief promotional message courtesy of our friends at iRacing Motorsport Simulations.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And coming back now, 32 laps remaining here, and it is the Saturday Night Truck Series taking on the Michigan International Speedway in the Great Lakes State. 150 fast-paced laps, a lot of action, and as you can see, things are changing as Matthew Weeks now fights side by side with Jordan Kuntz for the race lead. Weeks finds himself now closing that gap, and once again, Matthew Weeks on a mission, takes it down to the bottom side with Vinny Tigner pushing through as well. Number 5 machine going to be up top even still, has not let go just yet, and it's side by side as Matthew Weeks putting it back into motion here in Michigan. You'll see the number 11 machine on the bottom side trying to rush down through turns 3 and 4. He'll have that opportunity to lunge it deep and give himself the edge in the final few laps here. If he gets that advantage and runs away, track position going to help him out in another pit cycle, which we still anticipate to have in just a few laps time. 31 laps to go this time by, make it down to only 30. Matthew Weeks once again grabs the race lead and finds himself advantageous with Vinny Tigner pushing him through. Tigner also looking for his first race win of Season 5. He's not done fighting, and the number 12 machine keeps things going. Despite the fact this number 12 has not come through the checkered flag, he knows he's a Final Four competitor for good reason and wants to prove once again that he'll be fighting with a chance at Auto Club for that championship. Auto Club and Michigan, very similar tracks here in iRacing, both 2-mile large super speedway style tracks with a lot of on-throttle time and a lot of opportunity to go at high speeds with a lot of racing room all throughout. It's a lot of a lot, and it's a very grand circuit, and the grand scale of Michigan carries over to the west. So these drivers getting a chance to go at a very similar track and get that expertise and experience as 29 laps to go this time by. 14 drivers on the track, no retirees, been a mostly clean grain race. Henry Kaloff having some trouble, slammed up in the wall, otherwise everyone else going at full pace with not much trouble as Kaloff stays on the high side this time by. He'll let the leaders go right through, and 29 laps to go as the number 5 makes it by another lap machine, and now Matthew Weeks goes down to the bottom side himself looking for help from Vinny Tigner. He's gonna get it there as Kaloff now goes up high to shove Jordan Kuntz right through. All the same bit of pushing and shoving in turns 1 and 2 this time by. You'll see the aerodynamic assistance as Kaloff is gonna let Jordan Kuntz go. Matthew Weeks remains on the bottom, occupying that low side as they stay side by side with 28 laps to go, rushing down to what will be a total of 27 up next. Matthew Weeks remains end-to-end, side by side, right on board with Vinny Tigner here as he watches the leading battle right outside of his windshield. Matthew Weeks able to take that top spot, but he's going to have to drive all the way up high here, and Jordan Kuntz gets it down low. Slide job maneuver gives the number 5 once again that advantage, and Vinny Tigner not going to have anything of it as he'll stay up top, try to push through, and Matthew Weeks goes up high looking for some more momentum here as Jordan Kuntz is going to get a bit sideways, keeps it going, and nicely gets back in front, leading the way. 27 laps left. Just like that, Jordan Kuntz is going to go up to the high side once more. Matthew Weeks goes through 3 and 4, getting back to the bottom. And it's another textbook maneuver and play, going down to the low side, swapping back and forth, groove to groove. It's Matthew Weeks now with that edge, but it can go in any direction with only a few laps remaining here on the day. 49 coming down to lap number 50. Pit stops are still expected within the next 5 laps. And now with the final run on its way, Jordan Kuntz and Matthew Weeks fight each other in the heat of the moment. And Jordan Kuntz, just like that, gets the lead back in its favor. The number 5 machine, your race leading driver, Matthew Weeks 2nd, Vinny Tigner 3rd, Carter Casey 4th, and not too far behind, Alec Daffin is still there in 5th. And all your drivers within 1 second of the race leader have an outside opportunity to come home with the race win. They're still side by side though between Jordan Kuntz and Weeks again. Jordan Kuntz has the advantage. Matthew Weeks almost comes through, and at the stripe it goes back to Jordan. Just like that, number 5 machine's got the edge. One man coming out of pit road this time by him. That is going to be Carter Casey. Casey comes in, and just like that, 25 laps remain for the number 2 machine as he comes down to pit road and is the first driver in our second cycle of the night. He's going to come in pretty early, Carter Casey does, to try to get that advantage and run the hot laps right now and catch back up to the leaders as opposed to biding his time and running on the same strategy. Michael Deitch also comes down to pit road this time through, not to mention he'll also bring Scott Erickson, Curtis Barron, Michael Boone, and Tyrone Yoh also come together, and it's going to be another big pack coming in. Very few drivers remain, but your leaders are the ones that do, as at the line, Jordan Coons has a minor edge and still is just barely out in front. 24 laps to go. This time by number 11 machine remains way up to the top side of the track, stays at least a groove higher, if not a groove and a half, tries to make something happen, just can't that time by. Down the backstretch, they'll rush down once more. Shaw Racing, number 5, keeping it on the bottom side, trying to make something of it, close to getting a race lead, just can't seal the deal, and number 5 drops way down low, trying to use that painting groove to get right through for the pass, going down to the bottom, trying to get a bit of that grip all the way down low, works out to take the race lead once again, and at the line, Jordan Kuntz has it once more with 23 laps remaining. Vinny Tigner still in the back bumper here, and Vinny waiting in the wings to see if something happens. Still hasn't gotten something for sure, but it could fall in the favor of either driver ahead. But if there's a wreck, if there's an incident, you'll see Vinny Tigner pick up the scraps and go for a win on his own right. Coming through this time by with 22 laps to go. Up next, it's TrackCams22.com, providing the highest quality iRacing cameras on the market for all broadcasters or racing photographers in the sim. Check out TrackCams22.com for all your camera needs. Over 100 track and car combinations as we will crank it up with 22 laps to go, courtesy of our friends at TrackCams22.com. And coming through now with 17 laps remaining, pit cycle still on the move. That time by, Jordan Kuntz and Alec Daffin drop in side by side. The teammates make it in, and just like that, the final run going to be on its way. Only Matthew Weeks and Dylan Paz remaining out on the track right now, hoping to stretch it just a bit further in the final running here in Michigan. 59 laps in at a 75, no cautions to this point. Number 35, Michigan Henry Kaloff on frame as your race leader stays out ahead. 28 laps into his stint. Matthew Weeks eventually has to come down to pit road, and that he will. This time by, Weeks will run down and in, makes that number 11 machine the final man to take a pit stop, save for Dylan Paz. Paz is eligible to do so this time by, and the number 41 machine is going to be 28 seconds behind your leading man. The decision has not yet been made, but I'm sure we'll see him drop down to pit road this time by, and if not, which is very unlikely, he'll have to come down the next to really settle himself in for another chance at getting back out there on the same cycle as the leaders. Running very long right now, trying to make up some spots, and it's going to be Dylan Paz dropping in this time by. That is almost a certainty, and it looks like he's going to choose not to, despite the fact he's ran almost as long as Matthew Weeks. He'll stay out even further, trying to push the limits, as this time by, Carter Casey takes a 3-second race lead, and going to make it even more than that. However, the thing about this race lead is that he's got it with a much older set of tire. 9 laps of age on his, and Vinny Tigner's got a total of 3 laps more, and Jordan Kuntz 1 lap more. Matthew Weeks opts to stay out longer, and it's going to cost him for now. But the end goal is for this number 11 machine to stay out longer, get newer tires later. And now, Matthew Weeks will be able to pull back up in front, have a lot more speed for him at the end of the day. Everyone's going to catch up to Carter Casey almost no matter what right now. He's got himself a 4-second advantage with 15 laps to go. They're going to have a lot of time to make it back up there. That's going to be just about 40 tenths of a second to make back up in 15 laps. So they'll have to be at least a quarter of a second faster even each and every time around, which is expected because that time by, Jordan Kuntz ran a lap 1 second faster than Carter Casey and clawed back into that race lead with his fastest lap of the night. Jordan Kuntz is quick, don't get that wrong. That's a number 39.828 is the time on his chart. That time by, his lap as fast as it gets is going to be one of the quickest in the session. Matter of fact, by a long margin, Jordan Kuntz just pushed past and got himself the fastest time on the track. That time by, though, only going to be a 40.168. Matthew Weeks is running even faster right now, and Matthew's got a ways to go as well, as now we got 4 drivers chasing each other for the race lead. Carter Casey's got the advantage right now, but it's not a done deal, as he's now only 3 seconds advantageous. Jordan Kuntz is still chasing, not to mention Vinny Tigner. Matthew Weeks also making his way by as well, and that number 11 machine, the final of which to cut through the field, has newer tire, newer to work with, as that's a huge slowdown. Dylan Paz goes up and down the track, and Matthew Weeks loses so much time, and it looks like that might be the end of it already. Matthew Weeks is going to slow down substantially, lose all that momentum. Alec Daffin's now on his back bumper, and how about that for Dylan Paz slowing down inexplicably up and down the track. Instant replay is going to show you a bit more inside the cockpit. We're not quite sure why that's the case. Could have been a caution flag. Oh, so close to the end of this one. Check out on board. See what caused it. It looks like he just got loose and came right back down to Matthew Weeks, able to save it nicely, but still, with the implications there, very, very close to ending some races for some leading competitors. Just like that, luckily nothing comes of it, but 63 laps in, 13 laps remaining. You really don't want to see anything of the sort, as you'll see Dylan Paz is still going, and up in front, it's Carter Casey leading the way by now only 1.5 seconds to spare. 12 laps to go, this time by for an ever hard-charging Jordan Kuntz, who's making the move down the back straightaway with the advantage now of about a quarter of a second over Vinny Tigner. I think right now it's going to be a done deal if Matthew Weeks can't put that speed back into play and keep things going, because that's going to be a substantial loss of time, and really, you just can't afford to have that happen oh so close to the end. A lap machine dropping down, nearly losing full control, and you got to move yourself out the way to accommodate for it, which is really tough to do. And for Matthew weeks, he just had to deal with it right there, so nothing much else he can say. That time by, it was about 13 thousandths of a second slower than Jordan Kuntz, which is nowhere near enough. And right now, Jordan Kuntz might be able to go home sailing with a victory, so long as he gets by Carter Casey. Casey's going to get easily past there. Number 5 machine makes it right by. Vinny Tigner, though, keeps it honest and is not too far back. However, Vinny does have older tires he's playing with right now, 8 laps compared to Jordan Kuntz in his 6, so that's troublesome in its own right, as you'll see one driver drop down low and in reverse as Dylan Poss once again finds trouble alone on the apron. Another troublesome moment for Dylan Poss there, and you'll see it riding on board with the number 41 machine, and most often tonight he's running the number 99 paint scheme, and you'll see what caused it as Dylan Poss once again gets loose, and the new tires are not doing him well because he does not have old tires. That's not the reason for the trouble, but quite the opposite, as Dylan Poss once again is going to unload and lose full control, and that number 99 machine tonight is just not in any good sort of mind, as he looks like he's going to lose more time again, go 1 lap down, 10 laps to go. Jordan Kuntz has the edge and is going to take it down to the single digits this time through. Tyrone Yo is the next man up, and that's the 11th place driver who is set to go 1 lap down. And it's been a hard-fought night for this 0-2 team, just not the best in terms of strategy, and once again going to get past, this time by your race leader. Once again, another move made by Jordan Kuntz as Brendan Carroll opts to come down to pit road this time by. Whether or not he's retiring the truck or not remains to be seen. Looks like a 32-lap run on tires for him, so a very risky run, running much longer than anyone else on track, and just like that, Brendan Carroll drops in. 9 laps to go. Carroll was 1 lap down after missing the start of this race, running serviceably to get back in the mix for maybe a top 10, an outside chance at one, but it's going to be another opportunity, losing a lot of time as Brendan Carroll has to take that final pit stop on the day, hoping for a yellow, does not get it, and with 8 laps remaining, it all comes down to Jordan Kuntz and Vinny Tigner, and despite the fact, as we mentioned, Vinny's got an older set of rubber, he's not giving up just yet as the number 2 machine of Carter Casey fades back. League owner Vinny Tigner is still there and making big moves as that number 12 rushes down the back straightaway with 8 laps remaining in the Great Lakes State. 150, the final few laps on their way this time by, and it's going to be Vinny Tigner trying to make a move. 68 laps into the 75, still right there on the rear end. And you'll see on board right now with Vinny Tigner how it's going as he tries to chase down defending champion Jordan Kuntz. And the Shaw Racing number 569 laps in with a very nice advantage up in front, just enough for him to keep going. A quarter of a second isn't all too safe necessarily, but when it comes down to in these final few laps, you'll take what you can get, even if it's nothing too major. And just like that, Jordan Kuntz will be able to replace, of course, a few other drivers such as Matthew Weeks and take that top spot, but Weeks is charging and charging hard. That time by going to be able to make it a less than 2-second gap for a brief moment with Vinny Tigner, faster by about 1/10 of a second that time through, but with 6 laps to go, that's nowhere near enough, and the troublesome moment with Dylan Poss really set him back big as he's now ahead of Alec Daffin, but nowhere near your top 2 drivers. Kuntz and Tigner remain advantageous, so they now will pass Chris Tripp to put the 10th place machine 1 lap down. And Chris Tripp going to go way up top here, seeing the leaders go right by him. You'll see Dylan Poss is in trouble once again. That number 41 machine back on the track, drifting through turns 3 and 4, and really no telling where he's going to go. As again, trouble later in the stages, and it's not been trouble because of old tires, as we mentioned. He's just having a lot of trouble wheeling it in the final few laps. Maybe rubber accumulating on the circuit, maybe just not able to hold on with high speeds because Dylan Poss is 1 lap down right now, set to go 2 down, and he's been drifting for about the past 5 laps. Has spun it not once but twice, as a matter of fact, and now Dylan is going to let Jordan Kuntz go, or does he? Looks like he's going to swoop down and then go right up top, go high once again, and the second groove where he first had trouble to begin with, he's having trouble once again, loose once again indeed. My oh my, really a lot of trouble, and he's going to almost go up top to Vinny Tigner, and another instance where Dylan Poss just can't keep things going, and How about that? 5 laps to go, coming down to 4. It looks like he's driving like a hazard here, and I'm really unsure why that's the case because the tires are fresh, and he was able to hold on for the better part of 55 laps, and now all of a sudden things are coming undone, especially in that second groove, turns 3 and 4 really being the worst point for any driver, especially this number 41. He's having a lot of trouble just making it through and turning that wheel almost 180 degrees, if not 360. Once again, almost out of Matthew Weeks, and you'll see substantial issues. I'm telling you this much, it might just be intentional at this rate to catch some eyes and some sponsor time for 213 Simware. Dropping down low, Dylan Pass is going to come back up the track, and he's still drifting it up and down and giving a show, but not a good deal for the guys on track. That's really something you do not want to see in your rearview mirror, but especially not in your windshield. Up ahead, 73 laps in, 3 laps to go. Jordan Kuntz has gotten away from all the madness behind him and now looks to take down Michael Boone and Curtis Sabarin just ahead. Vinny Tigner's going to be second, about a half second back, and while Vinny's giving it a valiant effort, not much more he can do right now besides waiting for an advantage in terms of not having a mistake as the number 99 machine continues to go back and forth, spinning nearly below the circuit. He's 2 laps down right now, and now in jeopardy being passed by Brendan Carroll. As Brendan, 15 seconds behind, now getting the opportunity to go ahead to really chase down Dylan. He's on the apron once again, drops down to the bottom, and has to run it all the way down low, and now going to take it down to pit road, slide again, misses pit road, and is going to get hit by the tire barrier. And Dylan Pass slides in once again, takes that Ford F-150 to the garage, and clearly not happy with the performance there. 2 laps to go, this time by Dylan Pass in substantial trouble in the final few laps, but the dying laps have given way to Jordan Kuntz, and this time by he gets by not 1 but 2 lap machines and continues a dominant affair here in Michigan. Coming down to the stripe for the white flag, this time by 1 lap to go in an all green 75 lap race, and Jordan Kuntz has held on. He has seized the day here in Michigan and has been able to make this track his absolute best circuit of the season, leading nearly the entirety of the show. He's had no competition for the second pit run onward, and now with strategy playing in his favor, getting it right by the driver, the number 11, and Matthew Weeks. He had that edge onto pit road. He went, got the tires, and the best driver in terms of strategy all season long will pull it through once again. If it wasn't proof enough, he'd make it to the Final Four for 2 seasons in a row. Have a day, Jordan Kuntz coming down to the checkered flag. It will be the number 5 winning from Michigan. The checkered flag is with Jordan Kuntz as he wins the Great Lakes State 150. 11th race of the season, the penultimate round of the tour, and their season 4 champion, hoping to go back-to-back, will win again here in Michigan. And Jordan Kuntz will get it done over the remainder of the field. Let's quickly run through your race results. We'll give you the burnout and the top 3 interviews to wrap off the night. Jordan Kuntz will win over Vinny Tigner by a second, with Matthew Weeks in 3rd, Alec Daffinger pulls there in 4th, and Carter Casey then in 5th. Michael Deitch comes home position number 6, with Scott Erickson, the final man, the lead lap in 7th, then Curtis Sabarin 8th, Michael Boone in 9th, Chris Tripp 10th, and 11th with Tyrone Yaw. Brendan Carroll is 12th spot, and Johnny Johnson, Dylan Pass is in 13th, with Henry Kaloff, the 14th and final driver on the day. No retirees, no cautions, and it's non-stop for Jordan Kuntz as he burns down the house once again here in Michigan. And Jordan Kuntz gets it done once again. The number 5 machine pulls through, and your defending champion comes home yet again. Not only a podium, not only a race victory, but dominance once more as Jordan Kuntz comes through. It's another checkered flag for the man in the number 5. Jordan Kuntz gets it done, waiting to get a word from him. It's going to be Kuntz, the first driver in that number 5 machine. Get that number 5 in, as he's now in the waiting room. Here and now, Jordan Kuntz will come through, and just like that, victory lane again. And it's been a red-hot season to back up your championship effort. It's season 4, and the penultimate race of the tour. You once again come home with the victory. How do you feel weighing the Great Lakes State 150?
I feel great, especially since I got the win on a race that had no cautions. It's, I think, another one after Richmond. So really fun to actually have a strategy play out, to actually fill a tire wear battle on old tires. And overall, it was a really well-executed race from my end.
And execution, the biggest deal for the number 5 machine, and Jordan Kuntz tonight all throughout. Pit strategy, the biggest part of the strategy, no matter what. And it seems like tonight you played it very well. So how was it understanding the long green flag run scenario and really applying it for a lot of success here on the track?
I mean, well, to start off with, I didn't get a ton of long run practice. It was a really unknown going into this race. Just kind of played the cards that they were dealt, and noted that tire wear, if you pitted a few laps after the people behind you, wasn't too bad. You wouldn't lose too much time, so that's my aim, and it worked out brilliantly, and managed to hold off Benny there at the end for the win.
And holding off Vinny Tigner for the win, the final of which, just like that, it's going to be the number 5 coming through. And how was it battling with Vinny in those final few laps, knowing the high stakes in the Championship 4 situation?
It was definitely tough because of the lap traffic, trying to not be held up too much by them. They did a great job at getting out of the way, and they just played into my favor. Had 2 laps newer tires also helped, but I knew that the most important part when battling Vinny was just get ahead of him, have the track position, as I found out with the battle with Matthew that the bottom could hold its own, and that I could hold my own with older tires in that case, so newer tires are going to be better.
And the new tires hold off once again for another victory here in the Saturday Night Truck Series and Championship 4 bound for 2 seasons in a row. Jordan Kuntz, Auto Club up next. How do you feel with the final race of the season and a chance to go for 2 consecutive championships?
It's a ton of pressure, but I know last year that I won, so I have confidence that I can do the same. And also that this is another 2-mile track, Michigan, and Auto Club is a 2-mile track, so I think they should correlate in some ways, and I think the speed should be there.
Just like that, hoping to keep the speed. Jordan Kuntz, once again, a race winner here in the Saturday Night Truck Series, winning the Great Lakes State 150. Anything else you'd like to add after this one?
I'd like to thank out to everyone who's in this race for racing clean, no cautions, brilliant way to end the race, and everyone who I battled there, Vinny, Matthew, and all the lap guards for getting out of the way. It shows how well Vinny's doing with handling this league, and that it's turned into a really clean season.
And coming through all clean and all green, no yellow flags. It is a non-stop night for Jordan Kuntz, winning here in Michigan. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And with Jordan Kuntz on the move, then from there you're going to have Vinny Tigner, your second place man, just within a second's reach. And Vinny coming home with another podium finish, and you're locked in the final 4. What's it going to take from here on out with a great night behind you?
Well, I got to get one spot better than that. No, I mean, I couldn't ask for anything more than that, besides winning, obviously. But, just good battling and with those guys and, just staying up there all race long. And, that's what you need to do, just stay in contention and pit strategies and all that come into play and change the outcome a bit. But I couldn't do much with Jordan there. I don't know how many laps he had on better tires, but he did a hell of a job, and I just try to do what I can and stay close, and just in case he had a mistake or anything, but which I knew that was rare as it is.
And even though, of course, you mentioned it's a slight difference here when it comes to tire age, you were able to hold on and, for the most part, keep up with them until the very end. Big gap compared to the rest of your competitors behind you, and it looks like, despite the fact you went for older tires, it worked out well enough to get that top 2 finish. So how was it in terms of having no cautions tonight and having to deal with all the strategy throughout the entirety of the 75-lap run?
Yeah, you said it there. No cautions. That that was nice, to be honest with you, especially making up for last week. But yeah, that last stint there when I was running in third and Matthew and Jordan were putting on a great battle, I was just kind of riding behind them. Like, I could have mixed it up more with them, but I just kind of stayed there because I knew I was going to short pit. So I didn't think it made any sense to just jump in front of them and then pit. And so I was just riding and knew around lap 55, I think this is when I came in. And so like 20 to go. That was my game plan and stuck with it. And thought I would come out. You know, I forgot Carter had short pitted before I did, but you know, I thought I was going to have a little bit more of a lead there, but you know, and Jordan was obviously close enough to get my draft. And I don't know what happened to the other guys. I'd have to go back and see, but I thought we would all four of us would kind of get back up there again and battle it out, but something must have happened. And but still fun though.
Not many of you guys making it to the end tonight, but of course, one last run before the most important race of the season, the finale at Auto Club, where the final four go through and fight for the title. Vinny, you're one of the four that will make it through, so what's it going to take to maybe claim a championship at the end of the 12-race campaign we've had?
Yeah, just do what I did tonight, you know, just stay right there and hopefully lead, you know, a lot more laps. They lead the last one, obviously, and I love Auto Club, so I like it just as much as I do Michigan. So I think I'll be competitive there like I was tonight, and hopefully, just like I said, be one spot better.
And looking to be one spot better next week to lock up the title. Vinny Tigner, a second place finish to conclude a great night here in Michigan. Anything else you'd like to add after this race?
Yeah, of course. Thank you for broadcasting as always. And thanks for everybody that showed up tonight. It was a great race, like I said, no cautions. Couldn't ask for anything more better than that. And you know, and thanks for anybody that tuned in to watch. Next week we're off, but hopefully we see everybody come back for Auto Club for the finale.
And there we have it. Looking for one more chance. It's Vinny Tigner, second place here in the Great Lakes State 150. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Now, with Vinny Tigner on the move, one more driver we're looking at for our podium ceremony in Matthew Weeks, the number 11, had a chance and had the strategy going, but some troubles late with lap machines involved, and of course some hard-fought racing bring you here third place with a lot more to show, and a great night overall in Michigan for you. How do you feel with a third place night?
Kind of disappointed because I felt like I could have won the race if it wasn't for that lap car, because the time I lost was literally how short I came up from catching Jordan there, but all in all, I felt good, had a good, fun battle, had a blast tonight. Clean, hard racing with Jordan, man. I think we were side by side for like a good 15 laps, dude. That was a blast.
And a fantastic night for you and all the drivers up ahead. It was only a 5-car bunch that really got things moving. You were one of which, and it was close quarters all throughout. But no cautions, no major incidents, and keeping it smooth until the very end kept you up there in the big picture. So what was it like? Well, a lot of green flag racing, and it's a contrast from last season where we went to Michigan, had quite a few yellows and big moments.
I know, right? Yeah, I remember that. It's good. I benefit from long green flag runs. I'm always better on the longer runs. So anytime we can go flag to flag, dude, I always do really good. So I enjoyed it. I'm glad we was able to do that because not a lot of leagues are able to run flag to flag like that. So it was good and good quality guys and everything. So.
And of course, green flag run, big strategy tonight, and it's a bit of a preview for our season finale as well. So building up that experience as we hope to see you there. You think you're going to have the same pace as we've seen tonight, and you're going to bring it to Auto Club?
We're going to send it, dude. I'm out here to collect that last win. I was trying to go for 3 in a row, but tonight ruined it. So I guess we're going to try to snag 2 out of these last 3 and get ready for next season because I think I'm going to come back full time next season. So.
And preparing to return next season. It's been a great part-time campaign as Matthew Weeks, you pulled through for a third-place finish here in the Michigan International Speedway. Anything else you'd like to add to finish off the night?
Shout out to you, man. You know, you do a good job. Shout out to Jordan on the win and hard-fought battle, man. He raced me clean all night, and I had a blast. And Vinny, and I think Alec was up there, too. And look, Casey threw a a pit strategy to get up there late. I mean, it was fun, dude. I had a blast tonight. Probably the most fun I've had in a while. Shout out to those guys. Shout out to Casey and everyone who runs the league. I'm glad it's still going. JD Designs, JV Designs, 213 Simware, Pro Edge Racing, my other guys, and everyone else that likes to watch. Man, I hope we put on a good show for everyone tonight.
Great show with a lot of hard-fought battling, green flag all throughout, and Matthew Weeks, you put through third place in the Great Lakes State 150. Thank you for your time.
All right, man. Thank you. You have a good night.
Just like that, with Matthew Weeks on the move, it's the number 11 machine coming home in third. Your second place driver from there going to be Vinny Tigner, as is Jordan Kuntz, your defending champion, pulling through with a victory in the penultimate round of Season 5. Another great win here for the number 5 machine as Tigner comes out on top. And I hope to have you back for our season finale in 2 weeks' time to conclude what's been an action-packed Saturday Night Truck Series season. I've been David Kreutz, commentating and producing all of the night's action here on FTN. It's been great to have you watching the channel and all this season, and we hope to have you back. If you enjoyed tonight's broadcast, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Your support is always greatly appreciated. Thank you all for watching tonight's presentation of the Great Lakes State 150 from our studios to your homes. We hope you enjoyed tonight's call of the action, the stock car racing league, no longer the Saturday Night Truck Series, and we hope to have you all whenever we're live again on FTN. Thank you all, and we hope you have a fantastic night.